get started. Does anyone want to get out?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Friday Night Frenzy, where Wonder Bat is canon. Jared's off for the week, so I can officially say that. And the topics, well, they're more like a set of guidelines. Well, let's get all the crew in here. So first off, we have.
I don't care. I ship it.
Hello, Nix. How you doing?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm pretty good. And do you really not care? You just ship it?
Yeah, for the most part.
All right, let's get the next member of this DK crew in here.
And I have my mind, and a mind needs books like a sword needs a whetstone.
Hey,
How you doing, man? How you doing?
doing pretty good, man. Glad it's Friday.
Oh, yes. So, lastly, we have...
Hey, it's me. Prove it. You're a dick.
Okay.
I get Wolverine, huh? Excellent. I won't complain.
I had to improvise, so... so we got one
That's
more
almost
member.
as good at getting like Snake Plissken, so...
Yeah.
I don't have Snake Plissken. If I were, I would probably have Solid Snake. So, yeah. So, how's everyone doing today?
Doing pretty good. Glad it's Friday.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
So, what you guys been playing / watching? Let's get all these introductions out of the way. But before we start that, we got one more member of the DK crew.
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Hey, man.
Hey,
how's it going?
buddy. How's it doing? And yes, Geek Heroes will be interesting.
Hey.
Oh, I'm just messing around, and glad that you managed to pop me the link so I could hop on in.
Well, I sent it to you on Twitter, but I guess I sent it to the wrong place. So, yep, Jared has the week off, so this is officially a Wonder Bat stream.
Yeah, Twitter never notifies me about like PMs like that. So usually, Discord's the easiest way to reach me.
Fair enough. So yeah, let's just any like burning topics you guys want to like discuss real quick before we go on the main topic, or we good?
Did you see the trailer yet for that Monarch King of the Monsters series coming out?
Yes, I'm excited.
I saw the Godzilla trailer.
Whoa!
Yeah, I saw that too.
Godzilla got him. Oh,
Yeah.
Yes, Scuff King has hit again.
Oh.
Well, there's Godzilla Kong Empire coming out, and I saw that
Yeah.
trailer. And then I saw the trailer for Godzilla -1, which just looks incredible.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. But yeah, I did happen to see the trailer for Monarch. That looks phenomenal. It looks so good.
Yeah. John Goodman and Kurt Russell and his son both playing the same character at different time periods. I'm
Right?
sold.
I gotta look into this.
You gotta love it when a father-son duo manages to team up to do something like that, because
There is
know
one
that's the
thing
only way that
I
that's
wanted
ever
to
gonna be
highlight.
pulled off right.
So there is one thing I wanted to highlight though. So Jared sent me this about an hour before we went live, and oh my god, this looks so good. So this is a Stephanie Brown fan film. I'm pretty sure I can play without copyright, so I got to like.
Dad, you're back in town? Too busy off saving the world.
Well, you know the world doesn't save itself.
I'm gonna do something totally not awkward and make this the first day of the new me. It's time for me to do something meaningful.
OnlyFans. Oh,
Fatherless behavior.
Where is the justice in pegging a civil problem on a single person trying to do something good?
Overachieve much, Miss Brown? I appreciate your enthusiasm. I really do. But shouldn't you be a little more concerned about your popularity?
What?
June.
When Floozy in a costume says something about a crime boss and suddenly GCPD is dancing to her tune.
I'll call him in. See if he knows anything about this spoiler character.
Oh, spoiler. Okay.
Black Mask.
Is that Black?
Hey, I'm Tim. And I'm Chris. And we are Method to Madness Films. We hope you like.
Okay, I really like that. Like this looks really good, and like I just wanted to highlight it. So I'm dropping the link in the comments. Also, hey William, how you doing? Like, what do you guys think of that?
Well, it has a lot of possibilities.
Yeah,
it looks promising.
Yeah.
Now,
like,
granted, you know that saying that's actually kind of high praise for me because most of the things that I usually interact with these days, especially from the comic book realm, is on the level of, yeah, I'm gonna give this a hard pass. But if I see something that looks promising, I'm like, okay. Let's
all right,
follow
okay,
this
I gotta give him credit. Waffle Warrior, yeah, that's good.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I just wanted to give this a little bit of a push. So if you like it, give it some stuff. I'm actually considering, maybe grabbing the $10 tier or something.
Oh, nice.
Like this looks really good. And I want to support these kind of things, and like fans do what the companies won't. So
Yeah. That's a yeah. I mean, it's we have the option to complain and lament about the fall of what we enjoyed, or we can actually make new stuff, and it looks like people are making new stuff. So good on
yeah.
you.
And while this is kind of in the murky copyright area, I don't care. It looks really good. It's like okay, I have to do this. It's not about the money. It's about sending a message.
See a magic trick.
Yeah. I mean,
me.
honestly,
Make
I'd like
this
to say
pencil
that
here.
it's not either or. It's not, either you complain or you make new stuff. I feel like it's kind of more like a stage of grief kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where you complain at first because you're hoping that they'll fix it. And by the time you realize that they're not going to fix it, you go, okay, fine, I'll do it myself. And so you move on
Thanos.
to making it yourself.
Yeah,
I'll do it myself.
Oh well, now it's like so it's, and I feel like we've kind of long since gotten that with comics. I think Star Wars fans, they just seem to be stuck in the complaining stage, and they refuse to get out of it. So I don't know what to say,
Well, I think it also depends on the time of investment. Like those Star Wars and Star Trek fans have spent literal decades of their lives enjoying their fandom. And so it's going to take them longer to realize, hey, this is not going to resolve itself. I need to do something myself.
Exactly. And
no one's coming
yes,
to save you.
No.
The thing is for a brief time, the fans were making Star Trek fan films that were better than what the studios were doing. And that
Axanar,
was perfect. That
Renegades.
was perfect until the studios stomped on it.
Yep.
Well, part of it is Axanar because like they got a little bit like they kind of flew too close to the sun and they got a little bit greedy, and I think Axanar really kind of ruined that party with the way like they interact with things. So yeah.
Well, like Star Trek Continues, I think it was.
Dude, that was amazing.
Yeah, that was great.
Wow.
Well, the problem and the fan films, they were actually getting Star Trek actors in there. Like Renegades had Chekhov in it, I believe.
Yeah. Oh. The thing is like Star Trek Continues, and there was the other one. There were two of them that was the old series, the original. And in both, it wasn't just they were getting old actors; they were getting the original screenwriters to come in and write stories for them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They did a
Nick
DC
nailed it.
Fontana script that had never been that never made it to air. They got a number of people who had done DS9 scripts to write them. It was a reason they were good.
Like imagine like a Star Wars fan film where you had Ben Burt do the sound effects to it, or like you got some like costume designers from Star Wars onto it. Like,
well,
that,
I mean,
like,
that's kind of what makes because I'm a big fan of Doctor Who as well as Star Wars and Star Trek. That's actually what makes the Big Finish such a popular product nowadays.
Yeah.
Even if it is a quote unquote radio show or an audio only show, they have a lot of the original writers from the original generations, the original eras of Doctor Who.
Yeah, and like they
so
managed to get back people you never thought they'd get back. Like they got Christopher Eccleston to come back, and also
absolutely.
the crossovers. Like where else will you see River Song, voiced by Alex Kingston, interact with the Fourth Doctor, voiced by Tom Baker?
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
It's like you
spoilers.
Spoilers.
Yeah, I was really big on the Big Finish productions, and you know the thing is when Doctor Who came back to television, it was kind of bittersweet because those first few seasons were pretty good.
Yeah.
But you would listen to the Big Finish audios that were based on it. It's like, this could have been so much better. Like what the Big Finish productions did with the Cybermen in Spare Parts. That would, if they had made that into an episode, it would be one that never, it would have been a classic. If you've ever heard the audio Spare Parts by Big Finish, it is horrifyingly good.
They basically redeemed the Eighth Doctor. They redeemed him. Like yeah.
Oh, the War Doctor?
Without the bit without
War McGann.
McGann.
Oh,
McGann's
I'm sorry.
Paul McGann.
McGann. Yeah, I'm sorry, McGann.
Like
the War
literally
Doctor was,
without the audio dramas, nobody would care about him as a doctor. He would be a footnote.
Yeah, he had one show
because he's such a good actor.
Well, it was because despite him, there's kind of a semi-curse after the original Doctor Who run finished off and they revived it, is a lot of the actors that they get to play the characters are phenomenal. I mean, you've got Peter Capaldi, David Tennant, Paul McGann, Christopher Eccleston, Matt Smith, all of them phenomenal actors in their own right. But a lot of the times the actors don't, or the writers don't know what to do with that.
Yeah, they failed the actors big time. I'm sorry, but like my first Doctor was John Pertwee. Okay.
Okay, and I'm just gonna say this: Jodie Whittaker is a great actress, and I think she like under a better writer, she would have been an amazing Doctor. Like I have no problem with her. She is an amazing actress, and I think she has the talent to be a good Doctor. If just Chris Chibnall let her down.
Yeah, chin balls.
Hard.
Yeah,
the chin balls.
If if they made a Romana spinoff with her, I would have enjoyed it.
Yeah,
but
like I want a Missy series. I want a Missy series so bad.
I
Michelle
hate the
Gomez
gender swap. Like Doctor is a British institution, and the moment you change that, it's like making James Bond an American. You know?
Yeah, basically.
Oh, you don't want the Adventures of Jimmy Bond?
Yeah, like just make respect the source material. And again, I was there from the dandy. Like I loved John Pertwee as the Doctor, and when Tom Baker came in, I was like, man, you got some big shoes to fill. And boy, did he fill them, because Tom Baker became my favorite Doctor. Obviously, the guy had like what eight years of Doctor.
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years. Like, yeah, it was insane. And then like I started like I liked the Doctor that Davidson and Colin Baker and all that, but like to me, Tom Baker was the iconic Doctor, and that seems to be a sentiment with a lot of fans. And I didn't feel that way. Like I loved when Eccleston came in. I loved his portrayal of the Doctor, and I really enjoyed David Tennant. But after that, the writing just failed Matt Smith. The writing failed. Oh yeah, Capaldi is an amazing actor, and they screwed him over big time.
I will say, yeah, Capaldi. Really, it's like the second half of the Capaldi run after Clara left is when they really kind of started. When they like honestly, Bill Potts, while not terrible, was kind of a sign of things to come, because like Bill Potts was like the trans character.
Yeah.
And like honestly, like Bill Potts was not like the worst thing ever. Like they were written fine. Like the character themselves was fine.
Did you know that she's a black lesbian or a trans? Yeah, you know, it's like they keep hammering that in. Like, remember the episode where it's like, "Oh, we're in London, huh? It's a bit darker than I remember. Their history has been whitewashed." It's like, no, fuck you.
Yeah, it was really the second half of the Capaldi run where they were like, okay, we're gonna dip our toes into this kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the thing is with Matt Smith had a very much dark fantasy twist to the character that could have been pulled off really, really well. If
They really did the fairy tale well during the Amelia Pond era.
Yeah, they could have done something really, really special with that, but then they just kind of flubbed it because Moffat has this particularly bad habit of writing his characters to be smarter than the audience, when in reality we knew what they were going to do.
Well, here's Moffat's problem. Moffat has a habit of writing himself into a corner, and he's like, all right, fine, and then he reaches straight up into his ass. He pulls out whatever Deus Machina he can yank out and just plops it on the screen. Like, I'm so smart, guys.
There were times when they were really reaching. Like,
I never got into Sherlock.
Yeah, and the other problem with Capaldi is Capaldi was a phenomenal return to a darker Doctor, a more professorial, a more moody and broody Doctor. And they gave him literally the worst writing I've seen in the show since the two Doctors that they really screwed over in the original run.
Oh, Sylvester McCoy.
McCoy.
Colin Baker. Colin Baker.
Yep.
Well, the thing about Baker was,
Baker.
Like he had like his shining moment, which was Trial of the Time Lords, and that was great. And if you listen to the audio dramas just show how good he could have been.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. You listen to the audio dramas and you suddenly realize, yeah, John Nathan Turner was a dick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Turner was the producer.
Well, wait a minute. Wasn't John Nathan Turner? Didn't he have a self-insert, which was Adric, the character everyone hated?
Yes.
I love how they had to mention, like, I swear, like John Nathan Turner, he contacted me, he's like, oh, you're having Peter Davison come back for the last episode of Jodocus Run. You gotta mention Adric. Like you gotta, everyone just gotta follow. Like they meant, like they went out of their way to mention, like, because like they brought back a bunch of actors and the companions. And I gotta say that episode is actually kind of sweet, like the interactions. But like they had to mention Adric in the Peter Davison one. And it's just like.
Yeah. People were cheering when he crashed into the dinosaur planet.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, I gotta ask, did any of you see the fan film that was included on the DVD release of when Adric died? It was, Earth Crash?
Yeah.
There was a Claymation fan film included on Earth.
Done by John Nathan Turner.
And what it was what really happened to Adric, and it shows the pod crash on Earth, and he climbs out and says, I'm okay. Wow.
John Nathan Turner commissioned that.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
No.
He gets out and he looks around and says, wait a minute, I'm okay. Wow. What's the chance of that? And then a T-Rex comes over and eats him.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So John Nathan Turner did not commission that.
No, he was done in claymation.
And like, and it's like, what I love about the fan community, and the BBC is actually really good about this, is the reconstructions, like the telesnaps and like all the classic Who episodes.
Right.
That's absolutely necessary because of the sheer volume of episodes from the first and second Doctor that the BBC literally just torched.
Do you want to know why the only reason we have footage of the first Doctor's rejuvenation is because
of fans who actually saved the program?
No, it's worse. It was a clip used on a children's television show, and that was saved. That is the only reason we have the first Doctor's rejuvenation.
Wow. Yeah, they did a terrible job of preservation. How many episodes do we no longer have?
pretty much most of the first Doctor's run is missing. A good chunk of the second Doctor's. I think John.
Scratch that, reverse it. A good chunk
What?
of the first Doctor is missing, but there's probably about 3 or 4 stories, and the vast majority of Troughton's era is gone.
Yeah, that's so.
Oh,
Really?
man.
And then, yeah, but
Troughton's
everything
great.
past Troughton is perfectly preserved. We have everything from Pertwee up.
I mean,
Yeah.
William, I like people are doing that. I'm literally showing you the solution right now.
Yep.
You know, people are making their own content. Streacher, like this is the stuff I've been showing you. This is the solution. Which, by the way, I should probably, you know, if you made it this far, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It's like, oh, probably should do a little bit of a promo thing, but
yeah. Indie creators, man. We're the mammals that survived when the dinosaurs go extinct.
Yep. I think now is a fair enough time to give myself a little bit of a bump. I mean, it is my live stream.
Yeah. How dare you?
Oh, wrong one. All right. Who's this cat person?
It's my wife.
Hey, cat.
I know. It's being stupid. But yeah, it's like
private collections. Whew.
All right. So, we're up to 27. Nice. So, if you can, please consider. We're in the pre-launch phase right now, so sign up to be notified when we go launch. We're going to be launching October 6th, and we're going for $1,500. That'll pay for printing and like the distribution. As of right now, we are the first 7 pages are colored, and the first 16 pages are inked. All right. You want to see some of these colored pages that I actually just got them today. So.
Hell yeah.
All right. Just preparing and yeah, for sure, definitely for sure. Hey, Keely,
Hey,
how you doing? What's going on? I am shilling my crap.
For seeing Screecher.
Yes. So here is page 7 of Screecher, and just look at this. Colors are being done by Ardent Black, and then the pencils and inks are done by Brian Q. Just look at that detail.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Like, yeah, I'm really excited for this. So yeah, that's Avery, and then Chandra is saying hi to her the only way she knows how.
Who doesn't like hot chicks hitting each other?
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, rubber back.
But yeah, I would like to just real quick kind of highlight Silva's point is a lot of what we consider cultural touchstones nowadays, they harken back to, you know, the original mythologies that we hold near and dear in our culture. I mean, Tolkien, the father of modern fantasy, is a mishmash of various different European mythologies and languages, all placed together lovingly and carefully into one world.
Yeah, and that's really like what a lot of we do. And I think the problem is, as we've kind of gone along, like if you look at like Wonder Woman, like a lot of these characters are based off of like myths, pantheons of old, and now it's like, I'm basing myself off of Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman was based off of Greek myths. I feel like it's kind of like a dilution of the inspiration.
Well, it's like everybody else has been saying, is we've been moving more towards parody and pastiche, which is either a full-on dressing down of the original source materials or a Xerox, for lack of a better term.
New wine in old bottles.
A washed down version of what we were drawing from.
Well,
it's a copy of a copy.
Exactly.
We've been telling the same stories for millennia for a reason, and we've been telling them in different guises and different shapes. and we're using the same tools because they speak to us. And ever since the 60s, there's been this growing notion that no, we've got to trash all that. That's pretentious. That's old. We've got to subvert expectations. Like, no, we're using these because they work. This stuff you're doing just sucks.
Yeah, I think you're referring to Marxist deconstructionism.
Right.
Yeah, like the whole postmodernist movement, you know.
Yeah, it's so well. Like that's the thing is like the classics work and they work for a reason. But what I see is a lot of people that want to expand into experimental elements that transcend the classics, like they want to make their own. Like that's fine too. The problem is we get that Marxist deconstructionism that comes in and just shits all over what made the classics so great. Like rather than like expanding upon that, they're like, no, we got to burn the past and create a new present and future. And it's like, destroy your foundation.
To quote Kylo Ren, "Let the past die, kill it."
That is he was talking to the audience.
Yeah,
that is
he was.
That is literally Ryan Johnson going mask off.
Yeah, and there's a reason why your house has a solid foundation before when it's built. Like those classics are our foundation. If you want to make new, more power to you, but you got to respect where you came from.
What I have on screen is
Joseph Campbell.
It's the hero's journey. I mean, any writer worth their salt familiarizes themselves with the hero's journey because it's one of the most solid ways to kind of plot out your tale.
I will say a lot of modern writers, they use it a little bit as a crutch. Like they they use it as as a skeleton.
They use it as a checklist instead of a dartboard.
All right. Well, I need my crossing into the threshold. I need my master of two worlds kind of thing. And like the hero's journey was not something that Joseph Campbell himself created. It was more based off of observation, off of analyzing stories from across millennia, from across thousands of years, thousands of cultures, billions upon billions of people, and he distilled it into a commonality. This is an observation more than a creation. And
exactly,
and yeah, the hero's journey is a great starting point. It's a great framework, but it's not something you should hold to. Like the hero's journey is meant to be something that should be tweaked.
It's not.
To
quote another movie that I'm sure we're all very fond of, we consider the hero journey more of guidelines rather than.
Oh my god! That's my opening thing. Where topics, they're more like a set of guidelines.
And so,
there are a series of trials that a character needs to go through to become heroic. You don't have to do them all. You don't have to do them in one certain order, but they have to actually go through these things to be heroic. You remove the hero's journey from your hero, you get Rey Palpatine.
Yeah. And that is exactly what's wrong with modern. And this is exactly what's wrong with modern storytelling, where, like you said, like Rey Palpatine, okay, it's the first, like Force Awakens. She uses Force persuasion. All right, let me no, pull that up again. I'm gonna solo you. All right, check out this book. It is literally everything you need to know. Boop the Steel out now on Amazon.
It's exactly what we're talking about right now.
Nice.
Available on Amazon.
The way I would characterize Rey Palpatine is she never hits the unknown. There's never a moment in her journey where she hits the unknown. She basically gets the call to adventure. She meets her mentor, and then she
doesn't have a mentor.
Change and hits the end of her story. Everything else has been cut out.
Dude, if you were to take that first movie,
perfect.
Oh, sorry, we all spoke at once. Sorry.
No, okay. I'm gonna say my thing, then you guys can go. So the thing that broke me with Rey was the interrogation scene. Like he did Force persuasion without even knowing what it is.
Yep.
On her third try, it took Luke. Also, you have a new fan. It took Luke 3 movies to learn Force persuasion. It took him. He barely knew how to do Force push onto the second movie. He actually had to fight for his power. And with Rey, it was all given to her. It's like,
I mean, even let's take Anakin Skywalker for an even closer comparison, because a lot of people call Anakin a Gary Stu, but you have the entire. I know, but I'm not gonna open up that can of worms. But I mean, basically, his journey is a reverse hero's journey. Yeah, he
Yeah.
gets the call to adventure. He meets a mentor. He has trials, and all of that is still there. But instead of returning a hero and changing the world for the better, he fails in the death and rebirth stage.
And there's also like, here's the thing that a lot of people realize: there is a 10-year gap between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, and
Exactly.
and so there's 10 years of him being trained. Okay, and most people when they watch the movies they understand it. It's like you see little kid Annie, then you see like teenage Anakin. You can surmise he's had some training. Plus, he's supposed to be the chosen one. He's supposed to be like really powerful, so it makes sense that like he would be powerful.
Well,
also, he gets his butt handed to him by Dooku. Well, if this is modern Star Wars, Anakin would have like Annie Skywalker.
Girl.
He would have bodied Dooku. Like he would actually beat Dooku. But the fact that like Anakin got his butt handed to him by Dooku, it makes sense.
Well,
Padawan versus one of the greatest swordsmen in the Jedi Order.
Well, here's my gripe with Disney's approach to it, because this is basically just another Disney princess film. But like what they did was they made every other character completely worthless. Like if you were to remove every one of those backup characters, those companions or whatever, and you were to compare it to like say Luke Skywalker's journey. Okay, let's compare and contrast. If Finn, the comic relief, wasn't there, Rey still would have been approached by these people, and she still would have kicked their ass. She still would have gotten in the ship. She still would have flown. She still would have gotten out of there. She still would have met Han Solo. She still would have gotten to wherever that place was. She still would have fought Kylo Ren and defeated him. There was no, there was no assistance. She got herself out of her own imprisonment. Okay, compare that to Luke Skywalker. If it weren't for Han Solo, Darth Vader would have obliterated Skywalker while he was lining up that shot for the Death Star, and he would have died right then and there. If Han Solo was not part of that picture, the movie would have ended with Luke Skywalker's X-Wing exploding and the Death Star just being there and taking out whatever it needed to.
But
you're all clear, kid. Now blow this thing and go home.
Yeah.
Well, one more thing. That scene served two purposes that Lucas screwed up. And not only was that Luke needed help from the outside that first time around,
Obi-Wan.
Also the redemption of Han, the guy who shot a guy at the very beginning of the film.
Yep. Yeah, the bad guy becomes the hero.
I don't care what you're fighting for, so long as I get paid and I can go home to.
Right.
All right, kid. Let's help you out and save the day.
Yeah.
Also, I just love the writing. Like when Luke and Han are talking, he's like, "Fine, Han, take care of yourself. That's all you're good for." And then like you can see his face. He's like Han's face, like, "Oh, that kind of hurt." And he says, "May the Force with that." That's your thing.
Yeah.
Like, okay, maybe he's gonna hit. Like that's your precursor.
Well, it also had Obi-Wan, who is dead. His mentor, who was killed, because like part of that, mating your mentor is also there's not mentioned here, but if you read in the book, A Hero of a Thousand Faces, talks about like the death of the mentor. The student surpassing the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Obi-Wan was still helping Luke after he died, because Luke was trying to use the machine, the technology to line up that shot. And you just hear Obi-Wan's voice saying like, remember my teachings, essentially, use the Force. And that again is another character that was needed for Luke's success. If that part, if he wasn't there, he didn't receive that tutelage, none of that would have happened. And if you compare that to Mare Ray Sue, like she literally had like within the first 5 minutes of discovering that the Force is real, she's able to do like all these Force powers. Everything is like instant gratification. It's like, wow, so you're Dark Force. You literally proved like what the other movies described as Dark Force. The dark side of the Force, where it's like, everything's instant and powerful.
Yeah. And like all things, there is a good movie buried in there. Like my rewrite of the trilogy is basically it's a Finn and Rey are the main characters. Finn is basically the Jedi.
Yeah.
And he's the one who goes through the hero's journey, and Rey is going along with them. But in the second film, Rey falls to the dark side. Basically, you have Rey going to Kylo Ren and actually joining up with him, and basically, the third film is basically Finn. Kylo Ren is the main villain of this trilogy. You don't have, Snoke doesn't exist. You don't have Palpatine coming back. Kylo Ren is the main villain, and basically, the final battle is it's like a 3-part, like trying to bring Rey back to the light.
Yeah. And
tell me you would not want, tell me that does not sound like actually a great
Oh, that's
film.
a great
Sounds
story.
better than what we got.
Well, I mean, a lot of times the fans who have spent a lot of time with the series can kind of understand better the flow than the actual writers that were, given the license. I mean, shifting topics from film to games here real quick. When it came to Mass Effect, well, let's say 3, the writers knew what they were doing. The original writer knew what he was doing with 2, but when he left, 3 had to pick up the pieces, and it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. And then they went off the rails with Andromeda.
I think the biggest problem with 3 is really the ending, is because you're so used, your choices are supposed to matter, and up until that point, and they just distilled it into a binary choice where everything you've done in those past 3 games just means nothing.
Right.
Yeah, so why bother?
When they went to Andromeda, it's like, oh, hey, we're going to do the whole, grand space opera all over again in an entirely different galaxy. It's like, you can't do that anymore. You've already blown your space opera load. So as a fan, I was like, okay, you could do a space Western, kind of like Red Dead Redemption. You could do a space noir on Omega 3. I mean, there's a whole bunch of smaller stories that they could have brought it back into and made it more intimate and made the story matter. And they just they had to try and blow their load a second time.
No, they killed the Mass Effect series with that awful trilogy. The last 45 minutes, I was one of the biggest Mass Effect fans. I'm like, wow, this has the possibility of overtaking Star Wars with its world building, its breadth.
And it did. For a while there, it kind of did.
Yeah, and then when the first signs of sickness that I saw in the series was when they started contradicting themselves. So in the first game, if you notice, when you did character creation, your character was ethnically ambiguous. There was no Caucasian, there was no black, there was no brown, Latino, Asian, anything. You were just you. And every character that was a human, it was so far into the future that that whole diversity crap that we keep having artificially forced on us now is just a natural evolutionary element. With globalism and the fact that you can get anywhere in this world within 24 to 48 hours.
You mean in a world where for thousands of years everybody can just screw everybody?
Exactly. That's exactly. But that was something that during one of the interviews they were talking about. They're like, we're proud that we put this in, and I'm like, oh god, this is going to be propaganda. But then they explained it, and they're like, okay, it kind of makes sense. They're like, now we're looking more at racism from an alien lens. We're looking at the fact that humans are now kind of new to the table, and they're viewed as the outsiders or whatever. So this whole idea of ethnicity is just irrelevant at this point, because anybody that's traveled outside of the United States doesn't care if the person that they meet with the American accent is black, Asian, white, brown, whatever. They're just like, oh, thank God someone can speak my language.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what it is when you get to a planetary scale. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then Mass Effect 2 comes out, and they're like, here's your token black guy. Here's your hot white chick. And I'm like, but you just said in the previous game, there's a reason why Ashley is voiced by a black chick, but her character looks like a white chick. Or some kind of Asian. It's like that joke on Family Guy where they're talking about The Rock, and they're like, and the black guy who's Samoan or Filipino or something, because that's what the world will eventually become. And then they just threw that all out, and they made more of a shooter aspect of the game. And I'm like, I don't, I like some of the refinements. It's pretty good. But by the time they got to the third game, all of those emotional points, all of the decisions that you made, everything, they just completely throw in your face and insult you. And then they throw the Deus Ex Machina there with the Star Child. and they're like,
yeah, well, that was also
literally,
because they lost the head writer whose original plan, and I'm considering that you were a big fan back in the day of Mass Effect, I'm sure you probably heard about this.
Oh, I
But
heard
his
about the
original
leak, too.
plan was to have the Reapers not really be the bad guys.
Mhm.
You were, because of all of your overuse, all of our overuse of Mass Effect was basically artificially aging our entire universe. And so the Reapers had to come in and wipe us all out to preserve our life from ourselves.
I
So
mean,
your
and they
ultimate
kind of hinted
choice.
at that, and they did hint at that in the first game because like
Mhm.
all the Reapers are a perpetuator of a cycle of death and rebirth.
Yep.
And it was the same thing with Mass Effect 2. They kept with that theme, but once the head writer was either I forget if he was fired or he quit, but basically once he left right between 2 and 3, the writers had to pick up where he left off, and they had no idea where he was going with it.
Well,
because a lot of his stuff he kind of kept in his own head.
Well, do you remember the producer literally goes on record and is saying, like, we are not building a game that's this linear corridor of you know, a railroaded storyline where like at the end of the game you get like an A, B, or C option for your ending. Like, we're literally providing a wide berth of options, and that no two players will have the same full like ending. Like, everything will be kind of a consequence of your actions, and then there'll be components for that ending. And as
Oh,
he's
that
saying
was
that,
a goddamn lie.
yeah, somebody was playing the red, green, and blue ending footage while he was describing that. It was like a big FU. And here's what really pissed me off. When people complained about that, and like customers are like, this is clearly a rush job. Your endings suck. It's not that they're bad ending, it's that they're unfulfilling endings. They went in and made a purple ending just to flip the bird to everybody that's like, this whole stupid make the three choices things was so dumb. They made a fourth ending, which was purple. And if you didn't choose either red, green, or blue for your ending, you got the purple ending, which was the Reapers wiped out everybody and you died and you were stupid for doing it. Haha, you have poopy ideas and poopy pants.
Wow,
like, that was
that is petty. That is petty.
Yep.
Wow.
And there's a reason why Mass Effect pretty much died after that. Like when the Legendary Edition came out, like I felt like there was like a little bit of fervor that came back, you know, but like,
People still remembered the first two games and remembered loving the first two games, and so now it was more accessible, and it had all the DLC, so you didn't have to spend an extra $40 after you bought each of the three games.
Yep.
Like, oh
I'm
yeah,
scared,
you know,
I'm
I'll
scared,
give
I
that.
just want to say, I'm scared for Dragon Age Dreadwolf because, like, from what I understand, Inquisition wasn't bad, but like, oh my god.
Yeah,
Well, the
yeah, I'm
thing
with
about
Nick.
Dreadwolf is their make or break game. Because if Dreadwolf fails, BioWare is absolutely going under. But if Dreadwolf even marginally succeeds, they'll coast.
I will say, I do have confidence in CDPR with their new Witcher games because they've proven they can do good Witcher content. Like, from what I understand, the new class they added with the 4K patch are actually really good. And I'm going to be honest, the problem with Cyberpunk was not the writing, was not the gameplay, it was the technology. Like, it was very clear they were working with technology they weren't familiar with. If you play the game now, it's
very buggy.
It's freaking amazing. So the fact that they moved to Unreal Engine, so that's cool. But like they're doing a remake of the first game, that's cool. And like in doing Witcher 4, I'm all for it.
I'm hyped.
Plus, the other problem with BioWare was EA rot.
Yes.
Because
Oh my
BioWare
God.
used to be one of the greatest WRPGs in the business, and then they got bought by EA, and they actually did fairly well under EA for a while, and then the EA rot started showing through, and now it's fairly obvious.
Yep.
So I'm like actually a huge fan of Dragon Age. Like I started playing it like when I was a tween, and it was only because my older brother gave me the game because it wasn't his. we found it at his house one day, and he's like, "Oh yeah, one of my friends must have left it, but they don't seem very interested in coming back for it, so you take it." And I did, and I played it, and I loved it, and I didn't get the second game until like maybe a month or two after it came out.
So I kind of want
But,
to shift gears and kind of get into our main topic right now. So, yeah. So, all right. So let's be a little more positive. Let's kind of talk about some of our favorite like relaxing games, like cozy games that you just kind of like to pop on when you want to just unwind, stress-free games. We're gonna go from the top and work our way up. So, Shiro, go ahead.
Well, I mean, one of the, at least recent memory, one of my favorite games to pop in and play right now has actually been Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh.
And it's really nice because I can put on like a playlist or something and mess around in the background, explore the depths or hunt shrines. And I have to say, one of my favorite unexpected joys of playing that game was finding Master Koga. Because originally in Breath of the Wild, I despised his character because he came off as a Saturday morning cartoon villain. But then as I kind of, thought on him more, and the more I encountered him in Breath of the Wild, the more I found that silly goofiness was kind of a joy. It's like, oh, hey, here's my little bit of levity, and I get to smack the crap out of this idiot for a leader ninja. And he literally did the ending cartoon villain nonsense of I'm blasting off again and calling Link a twerp. It unironically just made me laugh. And so that's been one of my favorites. But I think over and over again, the things that I find myself popping back in and playing again and again and again are anything from the Legend of Zelda series, Ys, a lot of JRPGs actually. I will plug into like a JRPG like Ys 8 and be lost for hours, just not think. And for me, it's part of it is because I'm such a story fanatic. It's fun to be part of a different world for 3 or 4 hours and not have to worry about, oh, I have to go water the plants, or oh, I have to go out and run errands, or oh, I have to go and get groceries, or oh, I have to go to work. It's like all of that doesn't really matter because I get to play as these characters and enjoy a world that I get to adventure in, and basically just engage in the story. And I find that fun. And one of my favorite things that Tales does, specifically the Tales of games, is the side story stuff, the little episodes that you can miss. If you want to have just the grand tale of adventure, you can absolutely do that. And you can miss out on all of these small character moments, like in Berseria, the main female, the main character, she loves to cook. She specifically loves to cook for her little brother, but she was always a chef. And if you didn't look for those episodes, you'd never know that.
Yeah, the side actions, I think they're called.
Yeah, the side activities. And I think whenever I have a particularly stressful day, the one thing that I always, and I literally mean always, find that I go back to is Ocarina of Time. I know the game so well that I can do a lot, basically a majority of the side quests without a walkthrough. I know it front and back, inside and out. And I'll do that with Ocarina of Time, I'll do that with Wind Waker, and I'll do that with Twilight Princess. Those three specifically. If I'm having a bad day, I'll pop one of those in and I'll be gone. I'll be gone for the rest of the day, and I will have a good time because it's familiar, it's cozy.
Yeah, for me, my favorite experiences are always when like I got a game plan, I'm kind of laying back, I got a fan blowing in my face, maybe a pet on my lap, and got the music, kind of like really good music blared in my ears, and I'm just playing a game, whether it be like RuneScape, DC versus like an MMO, like DC versus Online, or just something. It's just kind of zen, really. It's like,
Oh, absolutely.
So,
And
Ishiro, what
if we're going to talk about, favorite moments relating to gaming, but without it being specifically a game, I think one of my favorite memories that I always like to try and, keep alive is just being on the couch, nice, freshly brewed pot of tea, blanket over me, and preferably at the times that I remember them and recall the memories, I also had like a girlfriend that I was just kind of leaning back. She had her arms around me and we were just playing video games and, trashing each other and shooting the shit.
Sorry, I just like that sounds like heaven.
Yeah.
It is. No apologies needed, man. It is heaven.
All right. Okay.
Wait, that's it.
Ishiro. Yeah, stream's over.
I would have to say that at the very top of the I've had a crappy day, I want to let off some steam. Saints Row 2. And not the main plot. Not the main plot. But the all the little side missions and screwing around stories for letting off
You were
steam.
just like spraying crap onto people.
I was going to say, there's nothing like coming home after a hard day and just kind of sitting down in the sewage truck and spraying down Frat Row.
You're here.
Love it.
That and the insurance scam one where you're getting hit by a car repeatedly is pretty good.
I will say, I prefer the version on GTA on Saints Row 4 because it's so easy to just like, oh, I'm just infinitely spinning and just racking up millions upon millions of dollars. It's so easy to break it on Saints Row 4.
Spin.
So that would have to be at the top of my list. I guess more recently, I've been disappearing a lot into Axiom Verge.
Ooh,
but that's kind of a
that's
different
really good
experience. That's kind of thinking. You familiar with that game?
Oh yeah,
I've heard of
I
that.
have both the digital and the physical copy. I actually really love Axiom Verge and the Metroidvania aspects.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you can just sit down and basically try and solve the world because the entire world is a puzzle.
Right. And it really is a spiritual successor to Metroid, the original side scroller.
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of the like the eldritch horror aspects of it is it definitely tickles the brain in its own primal way.
And the art, just the graphics the design for it is really good.
Yeah, is that one person made it?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure this was like a pet project from like one dude, and he like contracted out the other assets, but it was basically just him.
Yeah, I know the Wii U version is like really rare because it was like the last game released on the Wii U.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Another game that I wanted to bring up is the superior space sim No Man's Sky. And I really love like disappearing into that game because it like from the sound, like the sound design, not just like the music, but also like the sound effects. It kind of feels like a synth wave, like you're playing like those synth wave videos where it's like you got like the great music playing, it's got like the lights and whatnot.
Actually, here's a perfect description that I heard my one of my best friends say. No Man's Sky is a post-dad game.
Explain.
Basically, yeah, sure, you're journeying to the center of the universe in No Man's Sky, but think about what you're doing. You're wandering around a world, you're collecting materials, and you're inventing crap. It's a game that you can basically just plug into, do some ironically fun labor, and at the end of the day, you kind of come back with a sense of basically of accomplishment because you got to do this and that and the other. It's actually one of his favorite things to do is to plug into things like No Man's Sky and Deep Rock Galactic and there's a newer one that's come out where it's you're basically breaking apart spaceship hulls and selling it for money. And he likes to call those his post-dad games because he gets to unplug from his wife and his kid, and he gets to unplug from his day job, shoveling asphalt, and he basically just gets to be an engineer.
Yeah. Also, shout out to William, like mentioning Bloodstain.
Oh,
That's a really, really great game. Just don't buy the Switch version. Please, for love of God, do not buy the Switch version. I had to rebuy it on the PC. It was so bad.
Oof.
But yeah. So Chris, what are some of your games that you just like to chill?
Oh, well, if you ever saw me playing video games, you'd swear I hate video games. I don't play video games. I start swearing. I invent swears. I have snapped controllers like rice cakes. Like, that scene in Karate Kid when he was showing or Karate Kid 2 when he was showing Chosen's like little scam with the fake weights and he just snaps it. Like, yeah, that's me playing Street Fighter 2. But I do have games that I go to when I want to zen out or relax, and it's weird because they're not like good games. Like they're not. So
also,
for example,
sorry for the background noise. There's a lot of people who go through my neighborhood and they've got riced up Subarus, so every once in a while you're.
No, Oh my emotion, daddy. No, yeah. So the shit games that I really use to kind of, I don't know if it's like, because I'm on the spectrum or something, I don't know, but like Bejeweled, okay, it had I think the third sequel or something where they added in something called Diamond Mine, and Diamond Mine is basically you're trying to do the match 4 or whatever, but you're basically trying to match all of the tiles above a certain line so that it can dig to a deeper level and so on. And you start collecting like money and like treasures and all this shit. And it's so rudimentary. It's so dumb. But if I'm like super stressed out, I'll just crack open my phone and play that and it will zen me out. And the other game you're talking about synthwave and stuff. There's this game that I got on Steam almost 16 years ago. Called Audio Surf, and there's a sequel called Audio Surf 2, and you literally race your music where you take an audio track, and if you've ever been on a motorcycle, you'll know what like lane splitting is, where you're like bobbing and weaving between cars when you're going really fast.
Yep.
Well, it gets to a point where the adrenaline kicks in and you get super relaxed, and for some reason that Audio Surf game, if you put in like I had the intro to Ghost in the Shell Inner Universe there.
Cyborg?
Yeah, yeah. So it's going really fast, and you basically have to dodge all those little gray ones, and you're trying to fill up your little platter.
Chris.
And you're competing in an online course of other people who are also playing these songs because it reads the ID3 tags of your MP3 files, and it says, okay, other people have played this song before as well. And there's
I have the game on screen, by the way.
Yes, and there's all sorts of mods that make it prettier and more synth wavy and all this stuff. And you can even change the ship to a dude on a surfboard and like all this other stuff. That game will zone me the frig out. Like I'm super stressed at work. I pop that thing in and like my eyes dry out because I don't blink and I just go into pure catatonia. And I'm just sitting there like moving the mouse back and forth, just playing that game because you only need a mouse to play it. And
I mean, honestly, man, there's nothing wrong with a simple game. When I was like a really young kid, and all I had was the Microsoft Puzzle Collection to my name when it came to video games. The one game that I would always plug into out of that collection was Fringer.
Nice.
And Fringer, for those who don't know, which is probably most people at this point, is basically a bead untangling game.
Oh, nice.
Where you basically you're playing, quote unquote, as a castaway with a whole bunch of time and nothing to do but basically untangling his beads of rubies and pearls and sapphires. And so you basically have this really chilled out song, and you basically have a little toggler that will either it will either untangle or retangle different beads, and you basically have to get all of the lines straight.
Nice.
Really, really stupid simple, but it's one of those things that you could just plug into for hours, keep challenging, because it's simple. It's simple and it's addictive.
Well, one of the things I wanted to add though. Oh, sorry.
My go-to puzzle game is and this is gonna be kind of like my basic bitch moment, is the Game Boy version of Tetris. It's that version. I love it. I really want to try out like Tetris Effect, like when they got like those like cyberpunky kind of visuals, or like the cool music. I want to try that version out.
So I bet you're very familiar with the songs of Korobayenki and Sayanka.
Possibly.
Korobayenki is Tetris Theme A, and Sayanka is Tetris Theme B.
Oh, learn something new every day, I bet.
Yeah, I love playing. I love listening to music to drown out. And when you can choose whatever you want to do, and like, I'll tell you, man, if there's a free demo of that audio surf, I urge you to grab that and put in the Gorillaz Feel Good Inc. as the song.
Ooh.
You will get whiplash the first time you play it because of all of the sine waves of the boom. Like,
I kind of want to load up the cyberpunk song like "Take You Home Tonight." I feel like that would be really good.
Yeah, well, the faster, the more like seriously, if you ever put Dragon Force in that game,
oh my god,
it will explode.
Imagine if I did like Daft Punk Robot Rock.
Around the world,
no rock, robot rock, like that one.
Yeah, the
like
more frenetic,
work it harder, make it faster, do it faster, make. I'm a Daft Punk fanatic.
Yeah. The more frenetic, the more messed up the track becomes. And I've watched people like seriously like have like heart attacks, like oh god, like sweating from the brow, like oh god, it's coming too quickly.
Imagine
Gabber
bodies,
yeah,
bodies by Drowning Pool.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I've done that one, and it starts off like a roller coaster because like the song starts off really slow, so it's like let the bodies, and it starts climbing like that top of that hill, and then when it goes to the wah, and it's like you suddenly start dropping down. And
or like System of a Down Chop Suey, like wake up, why are we lying on a wake up?
Yep, you hit a spike. And then also it just goes really, really fast again. Then it's slow again, and then fast again, and then it goes into that nice melody.
Well, I don't think you trust.
Yep.
Why?
Actually, my personal favorite version of Chop Suey is not by System of a Down.
Oh.
It's by the Dead South.
I don't think I've heard that one.
When you guys get a moment to look it up, it's actually really. The music video is really funny and fun, and the way they do it, because they're a bluegrass band, they're a dark country band, is really interesting.
But yeah,
so is anyone ever played Lumens?
Oh yeah,
that's a good one.
Not.
I always mispronounced it until I heard the actual developers call it Lumens. I was like, is this like Luminous? And they're like, no, it's Lumens.
All right. So we got a bit of a curveball question here. What are your favorite types of comics? I always tend to go for the superhero stuff, but beyond that, I don't know. It's hard to say. What are you guys' favorite type of comics, guys?
Again, that is a really difficult call because for the longest time, my go-to was primarily Vertigo, 2000 AD, and a lot of the European stuff.
Yeah.
The bande dessinée.
Yeah, that was my go-to. And then in the aughts, because of work, basically, I needed to start reading mainstream DC and Marvel, and I was just thoroughly blown away at just how good Jeff Johns' Justice Society was. It's like, this should be moronic. There's no reason this series should be good, much like this good. Same with Brian Reed's when Brian Reed was writing Ms. Marvel. Excellent. Really, really good. So it's kind of a hard call. I think it has more to do with who's writing rather than the genre.
For me personally, it's manga. I love me some Helk, some Defense Devil, some Mahotsukai
Oh, okay.
Kohime.
No, what type of manga? Because that's important thing. For one manga, I usually like the supernatural, the cyberpunk, I'm a big fan,
Appleseed 13, that's a good one.
Oh, Appleseed's really good. Shiro Masunume is so good.
I think if we're gonna go like full manga genre, I would probably say I have a tough time deciding between shonen and seinen.
Shonen is I love shonen manga.
Shoujo.
I mean, we all know different
Nick's
shoujo comics like Dengeki Daisy. That's just some really good stuff. But
Nick's,
I don't know,
this is
man.
your time. All right, I want to hear what Nick says because I feel like he has some good stuff about like manga.
Oh, and games.
Yeah, he's been very quiet.
I usually when I do read manga or watch anime, I'll go for shonen stuff because that's kind of what I grew up on, like Dragon Ball,
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, but Naruto is kind of what it's like the first time I ever realized something wasn't from America, I think. Like I would watch Sailor Moon, the Americanized Cardcaptor Sakura, and
the
I'd
theme song, Card Captors, a Mystic Adventure. Card
Yeah,
Captors,
well,
a
I
Quest
actually
for-"
had
like
a
that theme
couple
song was such a
VHSs.
banger.
It was, but like Naruto was the first time, and like I watched Dragon Ball Z growing up with my older brother, but Naruto was the first time I ever realized something was like not American. Like it didn't register to me that these other anime that I've been watching weren't just regular old cartoons.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like especially when you're still in like your Saturday morning cartoons phase, where like for example, when you first found out Pokemon was a Japanese cartoon, or like some of the other stuff. Like it's really weird.
I'd watch stuff like Digimon, Pokemon, freaking Hamtaro, Spirit. I watched Spirit Away as a kid. We got Spirited Away.
Ham Unite.
Yeah, I had a few Game Boy games.
And I mean,
For him
touching
first.
on Dragon Ball real quick, I mean, Bruce Falconer is basically in my workout playlist nonstop just because of all of the really freaking good work he did.
And if you want to talk about like a game that has has way better music than has any right to be, Devil May Cry. Like my God,
Devil May Cry does the best music.
Time Has Come, Nero scene for DMC4, and Devil Trigger, Bury the Light. Oh my freaking God!
Devils Never Cry.
Oh, they're legitimately good songs. But one game that I want to talk about, like this game is a freaking warm, it's a warm blanket. It's Pokemon Blue. Like that is a game that I know inside and out, and I can just do runs on it, like just over and over and over again because it's just because I know the game so well. I know like okay, there's this Pokemon in this route. That's just like I literally plan out my whole route when I do it, and it's just so much fun because I know it so well that it's a warm blanket. I just sometimes I do a run through that game probably like 2 or 3 times a year just because it's just so much fun.
I think for me, my warm blanket game, more or less nowadays, would be Stardew Valley, like modded Stardew Valley, so that it looks nice and pretty with like calm colors. But
that is a great game.
One of my favorite that I don't really play a lot anymore because I don't really have the chance to bring out the old GameCube. Is Majora's Mask. I have it. I have the anniversary edition, so it has Ocarina of Time, the first two Zeldas, and Majora's Mask.
You do know that Majora's Mask is on Switch Online, right?
Really?
Yeah, like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask are on the Switch Online for the N64 thing, so you can play it on your Switch right now.
And I think they also did a re-release of the 3D, the 3DS Ocarina of Time.
We don't talk about that version. We don't talk. We don't talk about that version though.
Why? It's a good one.
No, it's gorgeous.
Majora's Mask, for me, has always been. I don't know. It's a game that hits different for me. Like it's dark and depressing, but I find a weird sort of comfort in it.
For me, it's Link's Link's Awakening for the Game Boy. That's one where it hits me in nostalgia really hard because like I played the heck out of the game as a kid, and so like when I boot it up, I'm just kind of transport. I'm a 12-year-old again.
Mm-hmm. Also, to highlight the movie theater King Birdstorm, Sonic has always had slapping music.
Oh, Sonic 2. Like,
it doesn't matter how awful, how god-awful the game is. The game could be absolute trash. The soundtrack will always be phenomenal.
Well, have you guys ever heard... You guys heard of the Michael Jackson connection with Sonic, right? Back in the day?
I swear Sega is like flip-flopping back and forth like, oh, he did it. Oh, he didn't do it. He did do it. Like, it's pretty clear he had a hand in the music.
Yeah, he did.
So many similarities. Also the fact that they cut out the music for the re-release. They're using the prototype music. Like,
well, have you ever heard what is it, the downhill? No, is it Downhill Zone? The one where you're on the snowboard?
Okay, I got this, brother. So it's Ice Cap Zone, by the way. And
yeah,
it's the theme to Ice Cap. Hard Times. Yep. By the way, that song slaps so fucking hard.
It does.
I love that song so much.
Why wasn't that not a one-hit wonder? Where the hell?
Like it is such a good like one of my favorite things.
One-hit wonder because people didn't consider video games to be art back then. They
No.
considered
This is a real song.
Oh, the real song.
Yeah, they ripped it off. They ripped off the Jetsons.
By the way, after the stream is over, I'm playing that song for you all because like copyright. But like one of the first things I did when I was watching Sonic 2, when you had that sequence where he's doing on the snowboard, I was like,
yeah, why did they play that?
No, and then I thought to myself, I am so gonna do an edit where I just put Hard Times on there.
It's so good. Like, and not only that, like whoever did the chip tune, like when they ripped them off, and it was like you guys hit it perfectly.
I actually think Brad like the reason why is Brad Buxler, who does work. He is a collaborator of Michael Jackson's, who's part of the Jet Zones, and like he's the one who actually put it in there, and so that's why A, Hard Times is used, and B, why it's so good is because he's basically covering himself.
Oh, okay, yeah, that would make sense because it's not even like that I can kind of see that. No, it's like that is a legit. That is the song.
From what I understand, the official story is Michael Jackson was collaborating on the tunes, but he left partway through the project because he wasn't happy with the audio quality. But his collaborators, like the people who collaborated with him for the music, stayed on and did the music. Like Brad Buxler is one of them, which Brad Buxler is credited in the Sonic 3 soundtrack. So I think that is probably what actually happened. Is Michael Jackson, and it's like I think like there's a tune like the Carnival Night scene eventually became Stranger in Moscow, I believe.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but he like Michael Jackson had more than just musical collaborations there too. In fact, this was part of it was like, I think you can find it on YouTube. I'll have to dig it up. But they were talking about how like Michael remarked on Sonic's plain footwear, and he's like, what would really spice it up if we put a buckle on it. And that buckle on Sonic the Hedgehog's sneakers, the red with the white stripe and the buckle, that is supposedly attributed to Michael Jackson's feedback.
Yeah,
because he was originally called like the Needle Mouse or whatever.
Well, I mean, Michael Jackson and Sega were very tight in the 90s. I mean, like Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, like he was a very big proponent of Sega games.
Yeah.
Like there's countless photos of Michael Jackson like playing a Sega Genesis. Like literally
Sonic over to his house quite a lot for sleepovers.
Yeah, and technically, Michael Jackson's not.
All right,
the
I'm looking up
only
the
thing-
Razor Fist video to prove you wrong.
No, I believe Razor Fist. I think he was
I do
innocent.
too.
I think it was all hype.
Yeah, I think he was an easy target.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's like the fact that like the government has thrown tens of millions of dollars into trying to prosecute him, and they still haven't been able to pin him for anything. That says so much.
Mhm. No, I
And
just
it's
think that he's weird, and it was because he was an abused kid, and they saw this guy that was kind of a freak show, and they're like, you know what? These parents of these vulnerable kids took advantage of him and said we could exploit him and make money. And in Razor Fist's documentary or whatever it was, his series, he actually is friends with like the cousins of Michael Jackson, like family members of the Jacksons, and he's like, that's exactly what happened.
The other
And
thing
it's the other thing is like there's two people that validate Michael Jackson being innocent: Macaulay Culkin and Corey Feldman. Because Corey Feldman literally ruined his career trying to expose Pizzagate, and he of all people, if Michael Jackson did anything to him, he would have said something. And he has been adamant. And also, Macaulay Culkin, if Michael Jackson did anything, he would have come out. Because Macaulay Culkin, he doesn't give a fuck. Like, he does not care.
No, God.
Or Emmanuel Lewis. Remember when Webster was big back in the 80s? Like, Emmanuel Lewis was like buddy with Michael Jackson. And he's the same thing. He's like, dude, nothing ever happened, man. He's like, yeah. He's like, there's a lot of shady
these
shit
people
going on,
have
but-
every reason to come forward and say he did something. You know? Literally, it would Macaulay Culkin would have gotten a huge boost to his career if he would have threw Michael Jackson under the bus. But like he didn't, and Corey Feldman has he has no reason to lie. He has no reason to lie because he really ruined his career exposing Pizzagate.
Yep.
No, I was going to say is with Michael Jackson, it seemed like every time the allegations came up, he was trying to get out of his. Basically, Sony was screwing him in his contract, and he was trying to get out of it.
Yep.
Yeah, for example, Razor Fist noted, they waited specifically to when he was in between two legs of his tour. Like there was so much money riding on it that Michael Jackson, I think, originally wanted to fight it, but he was convinced by Sony to pay them off, and that's
settle.
that is like the one talking point that they all repeat. If he's guilty, why did he pay them off? Like that is the thing that you repeat ad nauseum.
Yep. Yeah, I think this guy, his life was ruined. Like, I think it all started with the Pepsi commercial, to be honest. I think that was the beginning.
Yeah,
of the
when he
end.
part of his head off, he got addicted to painkillers.
He got addicted to painkillers, but he also became a kind of a freakish recluse because he had the Crypt Keeper head. Like, there was serious damage. Like, if you or I had that, we wouldn't want to be out in the public eye either, unless we were all like made up and shit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he actually was a huge fan of horror makeup and prosthetics and stuff. He would actually go around in like really bad fake makeup or whatever, and people would be like, "What the hell's wrong with that guy?" They wouldn't say, "Oh, that's Michael Jackson." They'd just be like, "That's a weirdo," and he was totally able to walk amongst the plebs. But
and it's like the other thing is like you notice how like when his kids were being raised, you'd always see them wearing masks and be like, "Why is he doing that? Why is like the weirdo?" But like it came out in the funeral, like the kids could literally like when they're on vacation, they're with like their nanny or something, they could take the mask off and be normal children. Oh my God, that is good parenting.
That is.
Yeah. Not only that, but his daughter is gorgeous, man. Paris.
I have no idea.
That's the other thing. Like, do you think Michael Jackson actually sired those kids?
I do. I think that because his bodyguards were talking, they're like, dude, Michael Jackson's voice is a lot deeper. That's all.
Also, like he was a freak. Like Michael Jackson's not gay. He is
he was a heterosexual. He
The guy bagged Lisa Marie Presley in her prime.
Yeah, he was a king of Gashtown.
and apparently they were like, we will do it in the car. We will do it really far. We will do it on high.
Dr. Seuss book.
A lot of people forget that in the entertainment industry, there is the whole thing of kayfabe, because one of the other bigger entertainment personalities, at least for a while during the aughts, was Eminem. And Eminem always said, "Do you want Marshall or do you want Shady?" And so I figure it's kind
I'm
of a
the real Slim Shady. I'm the
similar
real Shady.
situation with Michael, where you had Michael, who was, you know, high pitch, and he was doing a bit. He was doing kayfabe. He was doing it. He was, you know, playing his character.
Borat.
Whereas
Borat was
when he was in private, he was not maybe an entirely different individual, but he was certainly noticeably more himself.
Yeah, and you see that a lot, like Borat, like the actor for like Sacha Baron Cohen, or like even the '80s, Pee Wee Herman. Like Pee Wee Herman was doing the kayfabe thing. Like that's what ruined his career. Is I really think Paul Rubens got a raw deal. Like, okay, he got caught doing something in an adult theater. It's an adult theater. It's like come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I always, like every time I hear that, it's like, okay, I don't know.
And
I think
the
part
press
of it
really got off on ripping on him. They made it a spectacle when it was nothing.
I mean, it was the whole child star doing something adult. Oh, innocence. Like the press loves that kind of stuff.
Yep.
All right. I got the picture. Let me present it for you guys.
Yeah, real quick, you know, Sonic was Michael Jackson was not the only star that Sonic it hired to do some of their soundtrack, because even during Shadow the Hedgehog, they had Rob Zombie do a song for them.
Dead I am the one.
So I will say this about Paris Jackson: he's not my type. Like I don't normally go but even I can recognize, yes, he is attractive.
Yeah, like I don't know, man. Like I'm glad, pretty. I'm glad they kept her out of the public, or at least, you know, out of that paparazzi garbage. You know, put a mask on the kids, do it.
The yellow journalism.
Yeah,
I
don't envy those kids.
You want to know like one child celebrity that is like shockingly well adjusted?
Who's that?
Frances Bean Cobain.
Oh,
like if you just like look at her interviews, the way she talks, I have no idea why she is as normal as she is. Like the fact that like she's a daughter of Kurt Cobain, her mother is Courtney Love, and she was raised like I have no idea. Like, and it's the way she talks, really insightful. Like she's telling the story about like she did internship at Rolling Stone for a summer, and she'd walk by someone's cubicle and there'd be a giant picture of Kurt Cobain, and it just kind of weirded her out, which okay, understandable. You know, and like she says stuff like, "Hey guys, Nirvana's not my favorite kind of music," which fair. You don't like, but like for a celebrity to say that is brave. Like that takes balls. So like I have a lot of respect for Frances Bean Cobain.
Yeah,
because she could very easily, like she could very easily start a singing career, and she would have a big boost as Kurt Cobain's daughter.
Yeah,
like I know.
Baby.
Yeah, because Lisa Marie Presley tried to do it, and I don't think it worked that well for her.
Yeah, I don't know how any of these kids how they come out even remotely normal. Like you know, like the like Hollywood in general is a cesspool. You know, like I lived there. Like it's terrible.
I would be less. I would be less surprised, or I guess the phrase is I would be more surprised if most, if not everybody, who was part of the Hollywood scene as a kid did not turn out like Macaulay Culkin did.
Well, Macaulay went through his battles and turned out okay, dude.
I mean, he turned out okay, but for a long time he was, you know, he was kind of lost. And even the child actor for Anakin.
Oh, Jake Lloyd, that poor kid.
Well,
man.
the thing with Macaulay Culkin is Macaulay Culkin was had the benefit of he worked really hard as a kid. Like he made millions upon millions of dollars to where he didn't have to work anymore. So like he had that benefit. And also I think he was lucky he didn't blow it all when he was having his troubles.
Yeah, his dad was a piece of shit. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean you're right. He was.
But yeah. I mean a lot of child actors go through their troubles, but I figure, you know, I guess the better way to put it is you can either turn out like Macaulay Culkin, where you have your troubles, but then you kind of readjust yourself and kind of find your own sense of normalcy again, or you just go full Jake Lloyd and you basically lose yourself in
Become
everything.
schizophrenic.
Yeah, that poor guy. He didn't have.
I mean, yeah,
chance,
Jake
man.
Lloyd was abused really hard because you got to remember, Jake Lloyd actually had an acting career before this because, like, the other big film was Jingle All the Way, you know, and under better circumstances, he could have used that movie to Buddhist, but like, he just got such abuse after it. I don't blame him for dropping out.
Well, the schizophrenia. I mean, that's something you don't. That's not an environmental thing. Like, that's a genetic thing.
Yeah.
But do you remember what happened to Ahmed Best? Like, you remember? Like,
oh, dude, that's another guy. Like, that's his fault. How was Jar Jar Binks his fault?
Oh, fun fact.
Really
We're talking about
wasn't.
Michael Jackson earlier. Do you know that like Michael Jackson wanted to play Jar Jar?
Oh my God, I want to be
And
in
there's
that
that-
alternate timeline.
Like he was gonna put himself up with makeup, and there's actually a story where George Lucas took Ahmed Best to a Michael Jackson concert, and afterwards they actually met Michael Jackson, and Michael Jackson was actually like really cold to Ahmed, and he asked George, he's like, why? He's like, oh, he wanted the role. He's probably pissy, like, you know, like,
damn.
But like, I'm glad that Ahmed is getting kind of his redemption arc now. Like, you know, like him being in the Mandalorian, him being the one to save Grogu. Like, yeah, you know, I'm happy. But like,
no, I don't get like. So, did you ever watch the videos with? I can't remember the kid's first name. Something Gleason that played Joffrey.
Jackie Gleason. Yeah.
That
like, if you. I actually watched where he gave like a college, like a college discussion.
He's like a good guy. And then the same thing happened with Lena Headey. She's like, I play Cersei Lannister. I'm not Cersei Lannister. Like, I'm complimented that you hate me, but like, this isn't kayfabe wrestling. Like, I'm not like that. It's just a character. I don't deserve.
Yeah, I think with Lena Henley, she's been in a couple other things. So like,
like Judge Dredd. She was great in Dredd.
Hell yeah.
Also,
Sarah
she is
Connor.
the second. She is the second best Sarah Connor after Olivia Hamilton.
Yeah, I love the Sarah
fun
Connor
fact.
Chronicles.
So Game of Thrones has two former Sarah Connor actors because remember Emilia Clarke played it in Genesis.
Oh God, yeah.
I just want to know. I just want to know what the conversation is like. Like Emilia Clarke walks in the room like, "Oh, I just got cast in Genesis," and then Linda Hamilton's like, "Good luck." Like, I just want to know the conversation. Like I really want to feel like Linda Hamilton and Emilia Clarke had a conversation about it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the whole like actors being abused for their characters, like.
Oh yeah. Also, we got to bring this one up too, Bobby Driscoll.
Yeah, what they did in that Chip and Dale's movie was absolutely like disgusting.
Wasn't he
really
murdered
turned me away
over
from the movie.
$50, or was that someone else?
No, he offed himself. I think. He got
That's what I
older
heard.
and he was.
Oh
Yeah,
no, I'm thinking of the original Alfalfa from that. He was murdered over $50.
Yeah. The Bobby Driscoll was the Disney voice actor. He was the cute kid, and when he grew up, he started getting older. They're like, "Oh, you're not cute anymore," and they freaking dropped him dead. Like, they're just like, "Get out of here!" Like, kicked him out of the lot. Whatever. He had no royalties, no nothing.
Yeah, and they made fun of it in
that movie.
They made
Yeah.
him develop.
It is
his
disgusting.
character
Like, that is
developed.
disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah, the voice.
Like,
of
it's
Peter
bad
Pan.
enough. It's bad enough that the Flash used George Reeves' his likeness when there's no one around who can actually like represent his estate, and two, he basically killed himself over that role. So it is highly disrespectful to use George Reeves' likeness in that way.
And it was so bad
Anyway.
CGI, dude. It was like PS2 era.
So apparently the Christopher Reeve estate gave their blessing. So, all right, fine. The estate gave their blessing. You know, whatever. Also, the fact that like the Flash, it's very clearly Teddy Sears who played Zoom in Flash, but like they didn't credit him on that. Like I love when they credit people like, oh, like I'm not aware I'm in the Flash. I don't remember filming anything. Like.
Okay,
Like,
so
it is so clearly Teddy Sears' Flash. Like, it's got like the waistcoat, like very much like the waistcoat from the Flash. Like it is very much like his character version.
Mhm.
Sorry. Anyway, you sure what were you about to say?
Oh no, I wanted to go back and actually answer the question of comics, and I thought it'd be easier just to say what I was reading right now, rather than and just real quick sampling. Gantz.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
All right, let me solo you. So
I've been reading Gantz, which is a really good series.
Hell
It is. It's a classic.
The standalone complex series they've got out currently is really good.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Human Algorithm is what it's called, and it is good as the first 2 seasons of standalone complex. It's solid. It's got one of the writers.
I love standalone complex.
Yeah.
Strontium Dog.
Oh.
Ryan Reed's Captain Marvel. Back when she was a good character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And The Last Ronin.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, that's so heartbreaking to read.
So that's what I've been
When
reading.
it comes to TMNT, I've always been a fan of the aughts series, the 2003 series. For me, that's my TMNT.
Yeah, I'm a little bit older, so like the classic series is what I grew up with, but yeah, the aught series is pretty good.
Yeah.
At least up until I think I had a conversation with this before, but like basically the aught series was good up until right around Fast Forward. And
Is
then
Back to the Sewers any good?
Not really.
I don't know anything about this, so
Basically, Back to the Sewers is only good because it keeps the 2003 stories going because it's still the same actors, it's still the same writers. It's just it feels like they ran out of ideas until they hit the movie where basically you had the classic series, the comic turtles, and then the aught series face against all the different shredders from their quote unquote
I know that one. Yeah, that was a very like that one was very early multiverse movie, honestly.
Yeah, but it was done well, especially because it was basically the end of their series. It
Also,
was basically
I love
like, oh hey, your universe is bigger than you realize. Series ends, all good, fade to black, and then they restarted it again. And while I won't say that the other shows are bad, I'm just not a fan of them.
Yeah, I know for a lot of people, the 2010 Turtles is going to be like their definitive Turtles, like the ones that grew up with it. I don't know. I mean, that'll probably be the case for like the new Turtles. I mean, Turtles basically has this rhythm where it's like they do a series, go for 5 seasons, and then they redo it. Which, let's be honest, that's why Turtles is still relevant today. It's just constant
It is,
reinvention.
yeah. And like I said, it's not my Turtles. I'm glad if other people want to, enjoy it. That's up to them because my Turtles ended with the 2003 series. That's where it ended. I'm fine with that. And if people want to keep watching and enjoying the new ones, I'm more than happy to let them do it.
Yeah, let people have fun.
Exactly.
No. I am thoroughly against them race swapping a longtime beloved Irish American character. I'm
Turn
sick
her
of
into
this
a
shit.
potato.
It's really stupid the defenses they use too. Like, oh, look at this. She has kinky hair, so that must mean she's black. Like, congratulations. You're just as racist as the people you claim to hate.
Yeah,
Like,
Well, not
seriously.
that, but
Like,
it's
seriously,
war
how
on
racist
attractive female characters? Like,
how racist do you have to be to equate kinky hair with being black? Like, seriously.
That
My
image
Hebrew
was based on
heritage.
Julie Strain.
yeah. Well, I caught so much flack when I was like, why did they turn April into an Oompa Loompa? Like, people are like, oh, you're racist and all this stuff. I'm like, no, I mean, the whole point of April's character was that it was the Beauty and the Beast analogy. You had this hot chick surrounded by these gross sewer dwelling, like, muscle
Also,
beast things.
the fact that like that version of April is so clearly a self-insert. Like, if you look at
Oh,
a picture
God.
of the
Yeah,
writer,
it's his
it's like
girlfriend.
1-1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's always been the worst case of characters is a unabashed and uncontrolled self-insert. Self-inserts can be good, but they have to be held with a great deal of care and a good deal of criticism.
Like, for example, the Divine Comedy is basically self-insert fan fiction because Dante is basically is inserting himself into these stories.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he trashes all the people he dislikes in the book. They're like, "Oh, Dante, you're so great."
It is, yeah. And so here is the April, and no.
Looks like an
And
egg.
now for comparison, here's one more link.
Oh dear God, this woman's beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, hey now.
Hey now. You're an
Julie
all-star.
Strain?
Yeah, that's who the original April was based on because he was dating her.
Hey now.
Yeah,
Poor
you can
Julie
see it.
Strain.
Also, like we're talking about, like stuff based on Dream. Dream from Sandman was actually based on a real woman.
Yeah,
and the fact and like the way they made her like that in the Netflix show is just total disservice.
Was she
Well,
blackwashed
Neil
in
Gaiman is a total sellout, so
yeah, he is.
I've got
Gaiman.
real
Yeah.
harsh words for Gaiman. No,
Let
seriously,
him
I
fly,
got
brother.
a grudge against him, and I do mean personal.
Oh, real like personal?
Yeah.
Show me on this doll where Neil Gaiman touched you.
It was Titanium Rain, the audio drama, available on Amazon or on Audible. It was my first audio drama I scripted based on my series, Titanium Rain.
Mm-hmm.
It was nominated for 2 Audio Awards, which are the Oscars of audio dramas.
Nice.
We were told we had won it. We were buying the tickets to go to New York to receive the reward. And at the 11th hour, after the entry, after we were past the entry time, but because he's Neil Gaiman, he came at the last moment and got his nominated anyway and took the award. They gave it to him instead.
Aw.
Neil fucking Gaiman. He really needed another trophy on his shelf.
Wow.
So fuck him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't like him.
Yeah, there are examples of good self-inserts in fiction. It's just a lot of it has to be done with a lot of self-criticism and basically I wouldn't say self-derision, but I would say a sense of realness about yourself. Because if you can't if you're gonna write yourself into a book and you can't criticize yourself for your flaws and have that show, you're never gonna have a decent writing experience doing that because everybody's gonna absolutely trash you.
Well, I kind of cheated with my book with the Infinitale stuff, where all of our characters were actual players, like because it was a role playing game, and like the only characters that you could, I guess, attribute to me is the villains. So I'm like, dude, I'm the heel, baby. Hate me.
I mean, honestly, that's also another really good way to do self-inserts is to have yourself set as the hateable villain, because a lot of times it can be a lot easier to portray yourself as a heel.
So what you do is you have one self-insert beat up the other self-insert, so that way you'd be like, stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself.
Well,
internal conflict.
I think Chris's is actually a really good
Emotional
example
damage
of self-inserts done well, because based off of what you're telling me, because it was based off of D&D and there were other players, every character is a self-insert for each player, but because they were being real with themselves and you were writing it like that, it makes it come off a whole lot better than if it were freaking Dante Alighieri going, oh, I'm so good, I'm so righteous, I'm so holy, and all of you other people are sinners and belong in hell, and I get to watch you suffer.
I pointed it out just because like people think fan fiction is like this this new thing, but it's really not. And I'm sorry, but Divine Comedy is very much fan fiction.
Yep.
Oh, it absolutely is.
It is 100% self-insert fan fiction with by every
It's
definition.
amazing.
Yeah, so we got on the screen, we got Titanium Rain episode 1. Check it out right now. The true winner of the audio award.
Damn straight. And we did get the Mark Time Award though, so that was
nice.
different. That was from Audiophile magazine. So anyway,
awesome. Congrats.
So
man.
yeah,
Surprised Neil Gaiman didn't try and swing in and snatch that from you too.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It was like he went from being really supportive to indies to just, I don't know. He's a dick.
he pulled the ladder up. That's all it is.
Yep.
It's just the other reason why I can't fucking stand Kevin Smith anymore. I love how every time I say an F word, I lose a viewer, so I need to stop that.
Oh, really? Okay, I'll stop too then.
It seems like me, but it seems like as soon as I said that, it's like went from like boop boop, But anyway, I can't freaking stand Kevin Smith. Because like he used to be cool, but like it just seems like ever since he lost the weight, he got off the weed, he is just like this industry shill, and he tries to position himself. I'm the bridge between the fans and Hollywood, and it's like he just like the way he acted with the Masters of the Universe was just so stupid.
I have some theories. First of all, I think all of the talent in him was in his fat cells. And second, I think that he died when he had the big one, and what came back was some horrific demonic cuck monster. Because like that's not Kevin Smith. Like if you look at his older work and then you look at his new stuff, there is a clear distinction. Like the original Clerks, Mallrats, those are not even in the same category as Yoga Hosers and The Walrus and like whatever he did with Clerks 4 or 3 or like
very pretentious.
Yeah, it's awful. They don't even look like they're by the same people anymore.
Yeah, and it's just he acts completely different. Like his personality is completely different. Like he used to be, he like I remember like him telling the story of like him at a comic book shop and breaking a toilet because he's just so fat, or like the Kevin Smith where it's like there's people protesting a movie and there's a news crew and he's protesting along with them and he gets interviewed as a protester and the newscasters, they clearly know who he is, but they're playing along with the joke. Like that is the Kevin Smith that I can respect. This one is just like, and it's like, oh, it's like, honey, did you remember your Visine? You're gonna go see this movie? All right.
Yeah, well, it's also that same behavior is one of the many reasons that I can't stand content creators like Aaron Hansen, who they got big back in the 2010s. And
if I ever do a Let's Play, please shoot me.
Yeah,
you know what I'm referencing.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're referencing, and they got big in the 2010s. They were all kinds of edgy and offensive and let's face the facts, fun. Mm-hmm. And as soon as they got big and as soon as they decided to quote unquote create a brand, all of a sudden they turn right around, rip the ladder up and go, I was the only one who could be edgy, you guys are not allowed to anymore because I'm the morally righteous one because I've had a come to Jesus moment.
Oh, sorry, I my thing kind of crashed there for a moment, so I don't know what you guys were saying.
I mean, basically, it's the whole idea of, oh, hey, I got big off of being edgy and offensive, and now that I'm big, I'm gonna. I
dumped. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I had a terrible crater in my throat.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and punch all the little guys who are doing.
I had some creators clashing in my throat.
I did because I'm now the morally righteous one. And so
iDubbbz is a perfect example of this. iDubbbz is a perfect example of that.
Dude,
what?
I hate pulling the ladder up. Oh, sorry.
I mean, PewDiePie is an example of what you should do. He
exactly. PewDiePie made his brand off of being kind of an edgier kind of creator. But then he kind of slowly lost that, became more of a family man because he got married, he got a kid now, and he kind of just said, you know what? I'm kind of done with this. You know what? I grew up. You guys have grown up with me.
Filthy Frank is a great example as well. Like Filthy Frank, it's like he wanted to do something else. He announced it, but he's not ashamed of his past. Like I remember saw this video where someone actually did like Filthy Frank impression at a concert, and he was like, "Ah, yeah." Like he's like and he's not ashamed of Filthy Frank. Like his videos are still up. You know, it's like if you like the old Filthy Frank stuff, he doesn't denigrate. Like he's not saying people are wrong for preferring Filthy Frank. You know, and I just think he's the perfect example of like a creator moving on. PewDiePie as well. Like if someone said to PewDiePie, like, "Oh, I love your content, and I love like your older content," blah blah blah. It's like, hey, thank you.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with moving on and growing up and changing your sensibilities. The problem comes from when you deny the same process to others.
Yeah, and then there's also there's also like the thing I don't like about iDubbbz is I genuinely believe he believes himself that he's ashamed of his old content, but like you made your bag off of that, and then you're literally telling your audience, like hey,
you're morally wrong for trying to do the same thing I did.
Like it's like the guys have said, there's nothing wrong with moving on, and like even just saying like, hey, I don't want to do this content anymore. I'm going to move on. If you don't like it, I understand. If you like my old content, that's cool. That's how you should do it, But but you don't denigrate. You don't think people are bad for liking the old stuff, and that's what these creators do. And it's I don't know.
It's dumb.
Like I'm sure,
well,
like
it's not only dumb, it's selfish.
Like I'm sure, like if you went up to PewDiePie, like if we're at a bar in Japan, something they were talking with like, oh man, remember that one time you used the gamer word and like you had some like, oh that like oh it's so cringy, but like you would probably laugh along too. I don't know. I'm putting things in his mouth.
And I mean, Markiplier is also another really good example of moving on properly because he wasn't like as edgy as the other guys. He was a little bit more wholesome, but he still had an edge to him.
Yeah.
And even as he's gotten old, he retains a little bit of that edge while still being basically a
Markiplier has the voice of an angel, and I will not hear anything otherwise.
Yeah.
like I'm sorry, he has like that deep voice that's just like.
Well, he basically became, the rare example of a wholesome edgelord.
He is the internet's dad, basically.
Yeah.
He's like, honestly, like when he had that whole big thing about the vampire chick from the Village.
Mm-hmm.
It was honestly one of the funniest videos I'd ever seen. I showed it to my brother even. I was like, yeah, this guy's so hilarious.
You want to know what? Like, this is
the whole
really
getting over it. When he had that whole big rage
people are
quit.
still playing memes of his Pokemon Smash or Pass video because it's so absolutely hilarious.
So do you remember that? Like, I do want to bring up one Markiplier moment. This is not to dig against him. This is to dig against the community. Is when he tried to play Undertale and he was doing the genocide run, and he got so much harassment that he had to stop the run just because he was playing the game wrong. Like, do you guys remember that?
Yes,
you can't play that game wrong.
Yeah, there is no right or wrong way to play that game.
You just play however you choose.
I don't know. I've met so many pretentious. I've met a lot of good Undertale fans, but like I've met a lot of really crappy ones too. So it's
yeah.
The bad ones just sour it for the good ones I've met. Like I've just met some really passionate Undertale fans who've made fan animations. That's fine. Like I've met good bronies. I've met like people who are just bronies. They're fans and they're normal people. I don't know.
That's par for the course though with pretty much every fandom, especially if it's like video games or anime.
Unless it's Steven Universe, you all can go to hell.
Yeah. Oh god.
Oh god.
Yeah,
Please
no.
don't.
I was actually a fan of Steven Universe for a little while, and then the second half of the series, I was like, I can't be a part of this. I don't like.
Do I need to bring up the incident with the fan?
No.
Yeah, the artist there that didn't make the gem fat and ugly enough.
They bullied her to where she attempted suicide.
That's infuriating.
Yeah,
the creator flat out saying that it was all a metaphor for sex.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think
honestly,
wasn't it the Steven Universe creator who went on Twitter to say, "Hey, y'all need to chill out."
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and they attacked her too at the time.
Dude, I'm sorry, but
telling them to chill the fuck out.
If you have a fan artist that like they can blackwash your characters, they can make your characters do gay stuff or things that are not like part of your canon or whatever. just be happy about it.
Look,
Just
look,
be
I
Maybe
would
bring
say,
up the Voltron fan base.
All right,
I will say if I
have to. There's a video that I have to play for you guys.
Remember the Yahweh from South Park, where they're like, Kenny, like that was hilarious. Like,
yeah,
appreciate it, dude. And they attacked this poor girl. Like, I thought she was a talented artist, by the way.
All right, I have a video that I like. Speaking of Yowie.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Mpreg.
Oh.
Yeah, that's copyrighted music. So.
A pregnant Ichigo.
Oh god.
I love this video, by the way.
Johnny Youngbosh.
Poor man.
Is this gonna
We
like
asked for his reaction.
burn my eyes?
Faith in humanity lost.
Please no.
There's no audio.
Look at his face! Look at his face!
That poor man is dying inside.
Look at his face!
Is he signing it?
Look at the picture. Look at that picture.
Oh, no.
Wow.
No,
Why?
absolutely not.
Look, if that ever happened to me, I'd know I finally made it. I would have broken through the indie scene to be really a known quantity if I'm getting Yuri and Yaoi drawn of my characters.
I love what Johnny and Boss says. Like, you should be embarrassed. Like, by the way, that is how you handle these kind of situations as a creator, where like you don't have to like it, but you sign it, go along with the joke, you know. Like,
oh yeah,
I mean, I know that what's his name? The Brawley voice actor.
Well, I understand that.
Vic Mignogna, he won't. Yeah, he has publicly stated he won't sign Yowie for religious reasons. I can respect that, but also that's a boundary he makes perfectly clear. But he's also stated it's not that I say don't do it. It's just I personally won't sign it for religious reasons. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing he said is, look, I'm not gonna sign, he said he won't sign anything where it's Yowie or Yowie for a kid's property.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a kid's show, he says, "Fuck no, I'm not putting my name on that."
Dude, yeah, I don't know. I know there's been all sorts of weird shenanigans going on with Vic, but like, I loved his Star Trek Continues.
Vic is innocent. Vic is innocent.
I'm sorry. Like, I don't care if that makes me a bad person. If it, whatever.
Why would it make you a bad person?
Because you like insert. Like, that's how these like wacko.
I'm sorry, but there is no actual documented incidents of Vic actually being a sex pest. Like, the most he's done is like hug people, like be a little bit too huggy. Like, we have had so many people at these cons, who have been actual pests that don't get canceled. Meanwhile, Vic Mignogna, like, you remember that one time where it's like, oh, look at this woman, he's like doing something against it, and like the woman in the picture, like, I asked him to do that, like he came forward, and whatnot.
And people didn't believe her either. They chose to like completely ignore her.
I hate that.
It's that simple.
In a world of he said, she said, he said always loses. And it sucks because like I've known people who have been like you guys know who Chris Avalon is, right?
Yeah.
He's the writer from Obsidian. He did
New Vegas.
New Vegas. The guy's probably the only other person that I would put on a higher pedestal than him when it comes to narrative direction. Is somebody that I think she's been in the industry a little longer. But basically, if you've ever played, say, Uncharted or
Amy Hennig.
Yes.
Amy Hennig.
Like,
oh
Amy
my
Hennig
God.
is
Justice
the god,
for Amy.
in my opinion. Yeah, she is.
Amy.
But, like, Chris is right up there. I would put him as a very close second. And, like, you don't see him anymore, do you?
Okay, movie theater. cons are actually really amazing. I'm behind a table for them most of the time now. Which, by the way, I'll actually be at a Comic-Con next week. I will be at Monroe Pop Fest down in Monroe, Michigan, Friday and Saturday next week. So, by the way, there will be no Friday Night Frenzy next week because I'll be busy selling comics. And I asked to be a part of a panel on Friday. So that's really freaking cool.
Hell yeah, dude!
Nice.
Dude, film it. Get somebody to film it.
I'll either have them film it or I'll get pictures. So
hell yeah. But
that'll
yeah,
be good for my YouTube too.
Just to finish up the thing with Chris Avalo, like you don't see him anymore, and that's because he had that same crap thrown at him. You know, regardless if he's innocent, guilty, or somewhere in between, doesn't matter. As soon as that accusation was levied, career's over.
I do know he did pop up during the whole Baldur's Gate fiasco. Like he was thinking, like, oh, we shouldn't expect this from game design. You know, like,
oh god,
I lost a lot of respect for Chris when he did that.
Yeah, I honestly I don't know. I can't say what for sure because I don't know what exactly why we'd have such a weird bad take, but like I just know that when I've seen in that industry, I wouldn't wish that on anyone. Like seriously, get the hell out.
To answer Moothia's question, so I'm a writer, so like as far as writing style, it just kind of comes over time. As far as how long, I'd say it probably take me like 5 or so years to kind of get into like the groove I'm in. I work with artists, so that's a lot of it. So yeah, so I just they asked me questions, so I answered it. So.
And as a creator who has many artist friends, I can tell you from their perspective that you get a definitive style for, a couple of years, and then oftentimes you'll evolve into a different style once you've kind of gotten a feel for it. You never fully and truly have a consistent style, quote unquote, throughout your life. Usually what will remain consistent for a creator, especially an illustrator or artist, will be the their brush strokes, the way they draw their different styles.
I like the quote by John Romita Jr. He's like, I call my style the deadline style. Whatever comes out on time, that's my style.
Exactly.
Not bad. That's not a bad motto.
I can speak as a writer, though, that at least for me, I have a particular writing style, which is a little Tolkien-esque, a little Lovecraft-esque, a little bit of mix. That took me a while to get. It took me probably about 4 or 5 years to kind of get a feel for that. And yeah, I will still improve, and yes, I will still evolve, but that has definitely become kind of the core of my writing aesthetic.
All right, so hate to cut you off, Cyril, but like we're kind of approaching the 2-hour mark, so I kind of want to like.
It's fine. I'm at the end of my thought anyhow, so.
Yeah, so we're gonna wrap things up here. So like each person is gonna kind of go around, kind of give their final thoughts. If there's anything they want to promote, go ahead. I'm sure each will show up to steal my face, which I'll be happy to have that. And then we'll say our goodbyes, and I'll go grab some dinner. So Ishiro, shut boobs to steal my face.
All right. You need it. You want it. You love it. It is J. Shiro Finney's book, Boobs of Steel, Decoding the Amazon. 230 pages of lots of history that you probably don't know about. This book is both a history and a commentary on the culture war and a guide for writers. I mean, it basically says why it's perfectly fine to have a busty Lara Croft as your heroine. It's not sexist. It's been a long history that goes all the way back to the Paleolithic era, and it's a vital archetype that our society needs. And if you ever wanted to know about Go Nagai, this is the book for you. Also, if you want good comics, and you're saying, well, why, comics suck, why don't you try out my series, Case File Arkham? If it were the 90s, this book would be on Vertigo. It is Lovecraftian horror, pulp noir. So, 2 of those, 1 and 2, available on Amazon.
Very nice.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Makes sense. All right. So, all right, Shiro, what do you got to say for yourself?
Well, I mean, just find things that you enjoy to do, write what you want to write, draw what you want to draw. If you want to find me, I've been on hiatus for a little bit, but I'm thinking of coming back pretty soon to Twitch. You can find me as Lore Master, all one word, _ Shiro, as it shows in my box, SHIROE. And you will find me streaming either on Mondays, Wednesdays, or Fridays. So I've got a couple of different games I'm trying to get through and play, and hopefully I'll see you guys there.
All right.
Excellent.
So, Chris, what do you got to say?
Sweet. Yeah, I wish I had more time to show off some stuff, but yeah, you can hit me up on X at Infinitel Comic and watch me piss people off, or you can head on over to InfinitelChronicles.com and check out the latest in the Infinitel Chronicles graphic novel series. Book 1 is available on Amazon. Book 2 has a nice free 15-page preview. It's got the nice little sound effect when you flip the pages and everything. And yeah. And thanks for having me, man.
All right, Nix, what do you got for us?
Honestly, since we were talking about it, I just want to say, really like Big Mignon as Broly.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of a better casting twist.
Definitely
All
a
right.
good idea.
Deserves justice.
If you made it this far, please like, comment, subscribe if you have not yet already, and also please make sure to sign up for my Indiegogo. Not my Indiegogo, my Kickstarter. A little bit of a slip there. We're actually getting close to 30 followers, so if you could help me get there, that would be appreciated. We're launching October 6th, and then also I wanted to announce the stretch goals. So for the goal is 1,500, and at 2K you'll get a 6 a.m. design sticker of Shiva. That's the woman on the left. And at 2.5K, I will be doing a line art book, which basically means just the line art, no dialogue, no colors. That'll be another book that will be in. So if anybody who orders a physical copy will get the book in addition at 2.5K. And at 3K, the big one, is there will be an additional cover made by Joe Sontag. And anybody who ordered the comic will be able to switch over their cover to a Joe Sontag cover.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, I got some good stretch goals lined out, and then we're launching October 6th here on the Friday Night Frenzy at 6 p.m. on October 6th. So it's 6/6, whatever. Yeah, and there will be no Friday Night Frenzy next week because I will be at Monroe Pop Fest, but you will find me on Spider-Man both tomorrow and then on that Saturday. So thank you for coming, everybody. You guys are awesome. And just remember, I can only show you the door. You're the ones to walk through it.